Today's topic is somewhat somber as it concerns a group in China often overlooked, a group profoundly harmed by the Chinese Communist Party or CCP. My attention was drawn to them because of a deceptive scheme known as demolish-and-rebuild, where old homes are torn down and replaced with new ones. Why call it a scam? The CCP assumes that those able to purchase homes are wealthy and seeks to extract as much money as possible from them. Yet according to domestic media, in 2024, across 34 pilot neighborhoods for this demolish and rebuild initiative, the average agreement rate was only 42%. These pilot neighborhoods were carefully selected by local governments deemed ideal for showcasing political achievements. So why did the agreement rate fall short of even 50%? The primary reason, and the poignant issue I wish to highlight, reveals a segment of Chinese society that remains largely invisible yet suffers greatly under CCP policies: individuals over 60 years old. This is a vast group living in tragic circumstances, often out of sight, silently enduring their hardships. For them, life is reduced to mere survival, a quiet wait for the end. When the CCP targeted this group for demolish and rebuild pilots, assuming conditions were favorable, these elderly individuals became the primary obstacle. Homeowners refused to consent. Why did they oppose the initiative? Some objected for personal reasons. Many elderly people in China have no children or descendants. For them, spending money to demolish their old homes and build new ones makes little sense. At their age, they question who would inherit the new home after their passing. Are they to deplete their limited savings on this project, making their remaining years even more difficult, only to leave the house to the state? Understandably, most in this group refuse. These projects typically target older neighborhoods, not affluent or well-connected communities. Others oppose the plan due to practical constraints. Many elderly individuals lack the ability to care for themselves or suffer from chronic, life-threatening illnesses. Relocating to temporary housing for years during construction and returning later is simply not feasible. They lack the resources to participate in demolish and rebuild. If they have any savings, they would rather use them to hire caregivers or improve their quality of life. This unforeseen resistance derailed the CCP's plan to showcase these 34 pilot projects as a means of extracting wealth from the public. The initiative faltered, exposing a group often ignored but living in extreme hardship at society's margins. According to the CCP's 7th national census in 2020, there were 264 million people over 60 in China. By now, those individuals are 65 or older, and 2% had no children. By the end of 2024, official CCP data reports 310.31 million people over 60, an increase of 50 million in just 4 years. This accounts for 22% of China's total population. Among them, nearly 80 million are incapacitated, partially incapacitated, suffer from dementia, or have life-threatening chronic illnesses requiring care. According to China's 6th survey on urban and rural elderly living conditions, the proportion of those over 60 without children has risen to 35%. This rapid increase in childless elderly is directly linked to the CCP's former one-child policy. Currently, China has at least 10 million elderly individuals without children. Tragically, some may pass away unnoticed at home. By the end of 2024, 67% of those over 60 live independently, meaning they do not reside with their children even if they have a spouse. These individuals rarely receive regular care or daily support from family. This data suggests two critical points. First, over 10 million elderly individuals have no descendants, and this number is rising rapidly. Second, 200 million elderly people do not live with their children, receiving little regular care, many of whom are incapacitated, suffer from dementia, or have serious chronic illnesses. Official CCP data from 2023 indicates 400,000 eldercare institutions and facilities, offering 8.206 million beds. Of these, 62.4%, 5.121 million beds across 41,000 facilities, are formally registered, while the remaining 37.6%, 3.085 million beds, are provided by community or public welfare services, offering partial care. Yet even with these beds, the average occupancy rate is below 40%. Most facilities have vacant beds, with occupancy rates falling short of 50%. The CCP's official documents cite 5 reasons for this: low cost effectiveness, a severe shortage of professional caregivers due to the lack of a caregiving industry, structural mismatches, a cultural preference for home-based care, and uneven regional development. Even if these issues were resolved, the eldercare crisis would persist. With over 300 million elderly, the 8.2 million beds cover only 2.6% of their needs. For those who are incapacitated, have dementia, or suffer from chronic illnesses, there are simply not enough beds. Over 90% cannot access one. In reality, the occupancy rate of these beds is just over 30%. Since 2010, the CCP has promoted the 9,073 model. 90% of elderly remain at home, 7% receive daytime community care, and 3% enter facilities with beds. Over a decade later, the reality for China's elderly is far from this model, especially in rural areas, where home-based care is often the only option. In rural regions, basic medical care is frequently unavailable, leading to unnoticed deaths. By contrast, Asian nations like Japan, South Korea, Singapore, and Taiwan have far more comprehensive eldercare systems and social support for the elderly. The reason for China's situation is evident. Other Asian governments allocate national revenue to social welfare, while the CCP prioritizes consolidating power, maintaining stability, internal corruption, and the well-being of its top leaders. Despite China's high national income and rapid economic growth, its spending on basic support for its people, especially those at the bottom, ranks among the lowest in Asia. Chinese workers contribute immensely, yet receive minimal support in return. Were it not for the Demolish and Rebuild initiative, this group of neglected elderly, many without descendants, might have remained invisible. They became noticeable only when they obstructed the CCP's plan to profit from homebuyers. The 37 pilot neighborhoods averaged a 42% agreement rate, revealing one of China's many tragedies. Those over 60, soon to comprise nearly a quarter of the population, endure the bleakest existence under CCP rule. Many of these individuals have spent their lives merely surviving. Their contributions far outweigh the wealth they've received. They've toiled relentlessly, and many have been thoroughly indoctrinated by the CCP, living without understanding true freedom or democracy. Among the 80 million incapacitated or chronically ill elderly, and the over 200 million living alone, many lack children nearby, leaving them without basic daily support. Their lifelong contributions have been largely appropriated by the CCP, leaving them to face death quietly. For them, new homes are irrelevant. Their struggle is about alleviating the pain of illness or aging, a possibility they often lack. The CCP's healthcare reforms offer little help, even with insurance. Many treatable conditions are no longer covered. These individuals who devoted their lives to the nation have been exploited, left with unrealistic hopes for their children, and anguish over their injustices, facing a painful wait for the end. If you have elderly family members, I urge you to offer them as much care as possible. In China, unless they are part of the system, their lives have likely been marked by relentless toil, hardship, and resignation. Those within the system fare differently. This is a tragedy inflicted upon the Chinese people by the CCP. In the future, when the opportunity arises to dismantle the CCP's oppressive rule, we will reclaim what is owed. We firmly believe that with their downfall, justice will be restored, debts must be repaid. Thanks for watching and joining us on this journey to unveil China's many layers. If you found this video insightful, please give it a thumbs up, share it with others, and hit that subscribe button to stay updated. See you in the next video.